Welcome to the Say Yes to Profits podcast, the place to be to shift the financial trajectory of your business forever. Here's where you will learn the strategies and systems to say yes to cash flow, say yes to profits, and say no to taxes. I am your host, Octavia Connor, the #1 virtual CFO to 6- and 7-figure businesses. My mission is to prevent the struggle of entrepreneurship and help businesses earn their first or next $1 million. So join me each week by clicking the subscribe button, even scheduling it on your calendar. Listen, your bottom line will thank you. And the more episodes you listen to, the happier you will be when you log into your bank account. Can't wait to see? No problem. Let's jump in to this week's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Say Yes to Profits podcast. Today, I am super excited because I have an opportunity to interview one of my favorite clients, as I just mentioned, Miss Lynne Hart with Party Favors, Inc. Now, before we deep dive into today's content, Lynne, please take a few moments and introduce yourself and your business to all of our Say Yes to Profits listeners.
Thanks a lot, Octavia. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lynne Hart. I am the owner and creative director of Party Favors, Inc. We are a boutique stationery store that helps our clients make a statement through invitations and other types of paper goods. We have an office location that we work from by appointment only, and we help our clients do the events that they put on are made extra special by the paper products that we design to coordinate with their ideal for their particular type of an event. It's fun, it's creative, it allows me to stretch my imagination to meet the needs of my particular clients.
Awesome. So here's the thing. What I truly enjoyed about working with you, Lynne, is that you were fully 100% committed to building your business and to doing whatever it took to actually go to the next level in business. You were so coachable, and the strategies provided, you would implement them really quickly. And I just absolutely love that. So to kick off today's meeting, start by kind of telling me, I guess, we'll start here. Tell me how we met. I know how we met, but they don't know how we met. So tell me, how did we meet?
I attended a class that was put on by a master stationer, Sandy Spells.
Okay.
And she is in Atlanta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
She is phenomenal and is more than willing to share her expertise with those of us who are less experienced so that we don't make the same mistakes that she's made in growing her business.
Okay. And
Octavia,
actually, Sandy's one of my clients as well.
Yeah, Octavia was one of our guest speakers, and I was so impressed by what she said, how she said it, and the ideals that she hinted about. So it just made me want to know more, because the goal of being in business is not only personal satisfaction and gratification and the assistance that you provide to your clients, it's also about making money that's going to allow you to live the life that you want to live. And Octavia's system does it.
Absolutely. You're 100% correct. And, I often hear entrepreneurs and business owners say that, well, I want to have an impact on the world. It's not really about the money, but the truth is, in order to have an impact, you have to make money. You have to have money to have that impact. So I firmly believe that everything in some way, shape, form, or fashion leads back to the money, right? So I'm glad that you said that. So tell me, what challenges were you facing before we began to work together?
Although I am very good, and actually I'm great at my craft,
Mm-hmm.
I did not have a strategy in place for working with clients or getting clients that would allow me to have clients in the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did have people that referred me to other friends of theirs for assistance, but I needed to be able to have not only a high season, which is wedding season, but I needed to have something going on all year round. And implementing your strategies helps me do that.
That's awesome. So, on a previous episode, I discussed the bottleneck to profitability, and I'm actually going to deep dive into that a little bit more on a future episode. But I hinted around, as you mentioned earlier, one of the bottlenecks to being able to say yes to profits in business is having that revenue, seasonal revenue fluctuation. And as you just mentioned, during times in your business, you've experienced that. So, of course, during wedding planning season, you have a lot of clients, you have high revenue, but then during the off seasons, your revenue is not as steady as you need it to be. Would you agree that that's what you were basically? Okay.
Most definitely.
So tell me, what were some of the strategies that helped you basically stop that, to stop the bottleneck that was going on in your company at the time?
Well, one of the key things was to really take a look at my expenses and
Okay.
determine what they were and what I needed to bring in each month in order to meet my expenses and still pay myself a salary. And when I'm speaking about expenses, I'm not just talking about those that are related to buying materials, paying the rent, keeping the internet on. I also need to be able to pay myself a salary that's going to allow me to pay my personal bills. And
Absolutely.
once we sat down and identified what my expenses were, which was a really eye-opening experience,
Mhm.
you helped me determine how much I needed to bring in each week in order to maintain the lifestyle that I'd become accustomed to.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the things that I always teach about, especially for business professionals and CEOs that maybe it's just them. So they are a solo entrepreneur, or maybe they just have a small team, is that oftentimes they're not paying themselves a salary, right? So even though they may be earning money in business, they still find themselves struggling, or they find that they're experiencing commingling that's going on. And when we deep dive, it often leads back to the fact that either they're not paying themselves a CEO salary, or they're not paying enough. So I remember one of the things that we did, as you mentioned, is that we actually looked at your expenses as a whole, not just your business, but your personal, because if you're not paying yourself a CEO salary, it's gonna impact your business. Like they work together, and you may be making money, but then you find yourself where you're saying, well, it's all gone, or I can't pay my mortgage or my rent, and that's because of the CEO salary. So you're basically saying, after we were able to identify those things, that helped you with figuring out how much money you actually need to earn, because now you have all of the key numbers in place, and now we can break that down to its smallest parts.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. When we started to break all of your expenses down into their smallest parts, or rather break your revenue down into its smallest parts, did it make it easier for you to achieve your revenue goals?
Yes, because then I knew I could identify easier what were my best sellers, what were
Mm,
things that clients were
good.
asking for all of the time, to
Mhm.
be able to focus more on making sure that those were things that I put to the front when I did my presentations with my clients. I wanted
That's
to be
nice.
able to not only pay myself that salary, but have some money left over, because there are other things that you always want to be able to do. And being able to have that extra income
Mhm.
made it all that much more doable for me. It was really surprising for me to determine how much I needed to pay myself in order to pay myself that salary, to have savings, to make sure that everything was paid in my business, including the taxes. Yeah, it was eye-opening, but it was something that everyone needs to experience, because you can't be successful if you don't know where your money's going. And you
Yes.
also can't be successful if you can't identify your top revenue generators, who's looking for them, if you haven't identified your ideal client to approach them about your products and services. And the things that you not made me do, but helped me see, just made it that much easier for me to be successful, or more successful than I was last year. Definitely.
Yeah. You know, and the thing is, it's the financial clarity. That's basically what you were just mentioning, you know, and that's the first step. So I have a Say Yes to Profits blueprint that I implement with all of my clients. And the first stage in the blueprint is that financial clarity. I feel like once you get that financial clarity, the financial control will come, because now you know how much you need to earn, you know how much you should spend. Now you're at the part where if I want to say yes to profits, then I know that I can't go over whatever I budgeted or forecast for, because that's going to now dip into my profits. You know, I know how much I need to bring in every week. So if I'm not bringing that amount in, then that's going to reduce my profits. That's going to hurt my cash flow. But the very first step is gaining financial clarity. So that's amazing. So tell me, how has the growth of your business impact your life and your family thus far?
It's been very positive. Um, in addition to taking Sandy's class, um, my husband and I just got back from a fabulous, almost 2-week vacation. It was amazing.
Nice.
I definitely had money to spend on things that I wanted to bring back to friends and family. And there's just so much more that I can do as a result of implementing your process.
Nice. So instead of money leaks, you have a money overflow.
Yeah, it's been
Yes.
eye-opening. It was eye-opening for sure. I mean, the other
Good.
thing that helped me a lot was the review of my pricing,
Okay.
because for some things I was pricing correctly, others I definitely wasn't, and I needed to bring it up to the level that would allow me to make that money and keep it in my pocket instead of always plowing it back into the business. And yeah, undoubtedly you have to put money back in the business for it to succeed, but it can't be every bit of profit that you earn, because
Right.
you definitely have to, you owe it to yourself to pay yourself a salary.
Absolutely. I always say that your business should be at a position where not only are you generating a profit, but even before you get to the bottom line, the company has the ability, or rather, it's earning enough revenue to cover all of the expenses, plus pay you a reasonable CEO salary and generate a profit on top of that. And just to think about an episode that I just recently did right before your episode, was the lies you tell yourself about profit. And basically, one of the lies I recommend for everyone that's listening or watching, if you have not listened to that episode, you definitely want to go back and listen to it, because Lynne just touched on it. One of the lies that CEOs tell themselves is that I am going to take whatever the profit has left over as my salary. But then you put yourself in this position where if the business has nothing left over for profit, you have no salary. So now your personal life is struggling in some way. Instead of setting up your business to where your CEO salary is a part of the overhead expense, it is a part of the general cost of the business. It's not the afterthought, because you're the hardest working person in your business. Why are you not getting paid? So I love the fact that you touched on that, and that you were able to go on a vacation and have profits, but also have that extra overflow of money left over to do whatever it is you wanted to do with it, all because of the financial clarity that you've received around your numbers. And I want to deep dive a little bit into the pricing as well, because a lot of business owners struggle with pricing. So when you mentioned your pricing, you said that one of the things is that some of the things were priced correctly and some of the things were too low and you needed to come up. So what was the eye-opening part of this price is too low and I need to increase it? Because a lot of business owners fear increasing their prices. So could you kind of deep dive into any fear that may have came up, or the eye-opening part of why you had to increase your prices?
One of the things that I keep telling myself was that every client is not my client. I already have an ideal. I know exactly the demographics of my client base, and those are the people that I want to attract. There are other people that come to me to work with them, and I have to be able to say no if it's not a good fit. And before I really started paying more attention to my pricing, I kind of had the idea that every client was my client, because you start to think, oh, paper's paper. And we have some lower priced things, but I don't work for free. And not only do you need to take into consideration the cost of the materials that you use, regardless of your industry, you need to think about the time that you put into producing that particular piece of material for that particular client. And your time is worth money. I know about 12 years ago, or maybe a little longer, I worked as a contractor for a major corporation. And I know what my hourly salary was then. And I thought, well, if I was worth that much money 12 years ago, why am I not worth more now when I'm doing this for myself?
Absolutely.
And I started raising my prices accordingly. So it wasn't that much of a stretch, but now I have a lot more confidence when a client says, well, I have X amount of dollars to spend on a custom invitation. And if it's not within my budget, I don't feel bad about saying my pricing for a custom invitation suite, a totally custom suite, starts at X amount of dollars, because I'm worth it. And I want to give you what you want. And I can see your vision for your event, and your stationery is what generates the excitement and gets people to really want to attend. But if it's not within my budget, then we're going to have to look at some alternatives to see about getting what you want that's within your budget. And it may not be totally custom. It may be something that is semi-custom, something that can still move you in the direction you want to be in without compromising my ability to earn a living.
I love it. And it sounds like that financial clarity led to financial confidence,
Yes.
because you were able to say, this is the price for this. And if that's not for you, I do have something else for you. But for this particular item, this is the price. And
Yes.
that's what it's all about: financial clarity, financial control, financial confidence. That's a part of the Say Yes to Profits blueprint. So I love the fact that you're there now. And I think for a lot of businesses, the fear will go away once you have that clarity, because now you know exactly what you need to do. And the bottleneck in your profitability could be that maybe you need other services or a passive income product, or, you know, you need to increase your prices so that you're okay if someone says, this is not for me, I can't afford this, you're okay, because now your business is set up that in a way that allows you to have more money consistently. So there's no fear in saying, okay, I am not for you, or maybe we need to look at another product or service because this one, according to you, is out of your budget. It's okay with saying that because now you have that clarity and that control. Yes?
Yeah. Yes, most
Good.
definitely.
So what I heard you say about pricing as we begin to close, only a couple more questions, is that it sounds like at some point, maybe you experienced this, and I know other CEOs experience this, where when they're thinking about their pricing, they may not be including the full labor costs, the materials for the project, the service, or the product, or even a portion of the overhead. They're not including some of those things in the price. So they have a price, they're putting it out there, but it's still not working for them. So they're still struggling a little bit with their cash flow because those key items are not in the price. Sounds
Yes.
about right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
So let me ask you this. What would you share with someone that is listening that is considering having a conversation with me about possibly working with myself and the Say Yes to Profits team? What would you share with them?
I would say take the leap. You won't regret it. As long as you follow the process and are diligent, you will see your profits increase. It may require you to step outside of your comfort zone, and it did for me.
Mhm.
But once I started and really was consistent about doing it,
Mhm.
I got clients. I had clients in my pipeline for times that were leaner.
Mhm.
I It gave me a little bit more confidence. I can truly say that I've worked with clients that I never met. I never met the bride. I never met the groom. I never met the event planner. But I followed the process. I made some phone calls, and it was like an immediate. I got the
Yes.
business.
Yes.
So take the leap, follow the process, be diligent about following through on the weekly assignments. Because for me, that was one of the key things. It's like, I am not going to be unprepared for this. I'm paying for it. I need to make sure that I get something out of it.
Mhm.
And when you review the information that you provide, you have those eye-opening aha moments. You won't regret working with Octavia and the Say Yes to Profits group. It was and still is something that is life-changing. I mean, because it allows you to do what you want to do with your life. You know, if you choose not to do it, know that it's your choice, but you have the information available should you decide to follow the process consistently. It's your choice. You either have money or you don't.
Yeah.
You decide.
Yeah. You either say yes to profits or you
Yep,
don't. How about
that's
that?
it. That's
So,
it.
in closing, Lynne, is there anything else you would like to share for our listeners or share to our listeners?
But just to say that I enjoyed working with you. It was fun. It was fun again seeing you this year at Sandy's conference. And I think that everybody should have someone like you in their life. You, especially for me, I'm the only person. And yes, I have people that help me when I'm super busy, but you can't do it all. And things are bound to slip through the cracks. And that's what you have experts like Octavia and other people to help you grow your business. Take advantage of it, pay for it. It's well worth it in the long run.
So before we close, let everyone know where they can find you on social media and connect with you more.
I'm on Facebook as Party Favors Inc., and the Inc. is INK. My website is, of course, www.partyfavorsinc.com. Also on Twitter as, wait a minute, nope, let's do Instagram first. Party_favors_Inc., INK _. And on Twitter, I am at Lady Lynne, LADYLYNNE.
And I'm going to include all of the links as well in the show notes. So you could definitely go there and click on the links and be able to connect with Lynne. I must say that it was an absolute joy working with you. As you know, I'm a faith girl, and I always pray for the clients that have been ordained for us to work with, and I really feel like you were one of them. It was such a joy, and I just love the fact that, you know, the strategies provided, you would do it, and you would do it quickly, and you would provide feedback, and we would go back and forth, and that was just absolutely amazing. And I love the fact that you achieve results to the point where you now have an overflow of cash, and that's what it's all about. And you can have that impact. You can go on that 2-week vacation, which a lot of times CEOs can't even take a day off because their company can't operate without them. But now you're at that place. So it was beyond amazing to work with you, Lynne. I'm so glad that you gave me the opportunity to share my expertise and to help your business grow. And for those of you that are listening, make sure you go back and listen again. Make sure that you go and check out Lynne. And if you have any questions and you want to chat, definitely click the link below, sayyes2profits.com/session. And I would love to chat with you today. Toodles!
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Say Yes to Profits podcast. Review the show notes to download your gift. And don't forget to subscribe and rate the podcast. To schedule a discovery session with me, visit sayyes2profits.com. Until next time, say yes to cash flow, say yes to profits, and say no to taxes. Toodles!